talk about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, as many of you might know, is the dude with the big nose and the long hair. There he is. He was drafted number 1 a few years back, and he got a new contract. $275 million, Jimmy.
Yeah.
200 million
Get that
guaranteed.
show.
142 million at signing, Jimmy, and a $37.5 million signing bonus. Woo! Jimmy. So, Jimmy, Nate had that up on the screen, but I'm going to go through that. This is the order of quarterbacks in which they are paid in the NFL. We're going to cover up Jimmy's face to show this real quick. We got Trevor Lawrence is number 1 with Burrow, then Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Jackson Hurts, Kyler Murray, woot, hometown Dallas, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, and my homie, your homie, our homie, my homie, Patrick Mahomes is 10th on that list. Jimmy, is Trevor Lawrence, should he be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL?
No, but how? Absolutely not. He hasn't won anything. He has a. I mean, and I'm not saying that negatively about him. I like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a great quarterback. He needs other things around him and more experience. However, him being the highest paid, quarterback obviously is not how it should go. It should be Patrick Mahomes. He's the most consistent. He's done it. We've seen him, what he can do in the regular season and with winning Super Bowls. Coming back from injuries and everything, galvanizing the team, leading the team. He should be the highest paid. However, I understand the business. The business is you may be the highest paid at one point, and a year later, not even a year, a month later, a week later, because of the way that the salaries are staged, you may then become the second highest paid player, even after signing an absorbent contract. So, no, Trevor Lawrence shouldn't be, but I understand why he is.
So funny, Jimmy. My son is class of 2029, right? He said a few years ago he would be the first $50 million quarterback in the NFL. Kind of targeting like 20, 30, 30.
By the time he gets to that stage, it'll be $100 million.
$100 million quarterback a year. Yes, exactly. Because it's moving a lot faster than we all thought it would.
That's right.
Okay. So I want to say a couple things for Trevor Lawrence. First of all, let's talk about the good. Most passing yards in their first 3 seasons in NFL history. Number 1, Justin Herbert. Number 2, Andrew Luck. Number 3, Peyton Manning. Number 4, Joe Burrow. Number 5, Trevor Lawrence. 11,770 yards. Only 4 yards behind Joe Burrow. So that's a positive. So he has performed in his first 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to go to the negative. Through 40 starts, he has the same passer rating, same amount of passing touchdowns, give her a couple, same amount of interceptions, around 28, same completion percentage, around 63%, same yards per attempt, around 6.6%, as Mac Jones and Daniel Jones. So they identically stats wise. Trevor Lawrence 5 years, 275 million. Daniel Jones 4 years, 160 million. Mac Jones 4 years, 15 million. See the problem here, Jimmy?
I see. I understand where you're going with this.
I'm gonna my sweet spot is the NFL, so I'm gonna dive into this a little bit. Here's the problem. The problem is these teams are so freaking afraid of being the Buffalo Bills for 18 years where they can't get a quarterback, or the Chicago Bears where they have
got to open up the checkbook. That's right. You got to pay them.
And you got freaking Danny Werfel is your quarterback, right? They're so freaking scared.
You got to pay them or lose them, and that's what it is. You got to pay these guys. The guys are, they're students of the game. They understand that there's money out there, and they're going to get it, especially the quarterback. Like we've been taught that the quarterback position is the most valuable position on the team. So he has to be paid as such. And then that way it'll draw other, free agents
Jimmy, my
from skill
point,
positions that want to play with them.
Jimmy, my
Be
point is
secure.
simply this. This is what Dallas has done for years. When Dallas signed, and I have a different philosophy on this. When Dallas re-signed Dak a few years ago, right? I said, I'm Nostradamus here. I said, look, they're going to pay that money and they're never going to make it anywhere in the playoffs. They're going to have great seasons. They're not going to make it anywhere in the playoffs. They're better to trade Dak right now, get a whole boatload of picks, and reboot and start again and try to find that other quarterback and build around that. Here's the problem. It is so hard to find that quarterback. Buffalo tried for 25 years. Miami, honestly,
the guy
is
if you got
still
him.
looking since Dan Marino. So what do? They re-sign Dak Prescott and they go 12-5 in a first-round playoff exit 3 straight years. They didn't accomplish anything. Nothing. They didn't get anywhere because
Well,
they
made the
settled.
playoffs.
They
They made the
settled.
playoffs. They should have went further.
No,
That was the hope. That's
that's
the
my
whole
point.
reason.
They settled. Dak Prescott is never, ever, ever, ever. Trevor Lawrence is never, ever, ever. And who else is on this list? Jared Goff, just Jalen Hurts,
You don't think
Kyler
Jared Goff is
Murray,
going to win?
Kirk Cousins.
Jared Goff is in the driver's seat right now to
Dude,
win a Super Bowl with the Detroit Lions.
those guys are not winning a Super Bowl, period. That is where 7 of those 10 are not winning a Super Bowl. And they got paid because the teams are so afraid of what
It's the
happens if they don't have
position.
the guy.
It's the position. It's not necessarily the guys, the position. You can't pay, the quarterback peanuts and like for instance, Purdy. He's going to get paid because they can't have their quarterback, that did what he did and get all the props. He has to
I
go in
know.
there. He has to answer all the questions. He got to speak for the team. They always want to go to him and see what's going on. That's also why they get that absorbent amount of money too. It's not
Well,
just that they're scared of losing them, which they are, but they got to pay them for all the things that fall on the back of a quarterback.